Friedrichs. I'm an addiction recovery coach and the host of Take Your Life Back Today show. As an addiction recovery coach, I'm going to share something with you, and let me be crystal clear to leave an everlasting impact upon you. Just imagine being buried alive. You're in a coffin, but you know you're not dead. You don't know how to get out of the coffin, so you try to lift the lid. The lid won't open because of the enormous weight upon the lid. You try banging on the lid to unsettle the dirt. Maybe somebody from on top might dig their way down towards you. This is what it's like to find yourself at the lowest point of alcohol and drug addiction. You know you need help. You know you can't do it on your own, but you don't know where to turn. In reality, there are people probably standing right by your grave. You just think you're going to die. Usually you don't think about death when you're habitually abusing drugs and alcohol. In order to feed an addiction, you have to be great at repressing the fear of death. I often ask you, my audience, did it ever cross your mind while you're abusing drugs and alcohol that maybe, just maybe, you might overdose and take something that Jesus Christ gave to you called life? You'll take it away from yourself. More selfishly, you'll take it away from the people that count and love you most. Your children, your grandchildren, your mother, your father, your husband, your wife. With this, let me leave one last thought. Don't be the person that I'm reading about on these index cards that waited and waited until it was too late. Instead, be the person that looks for help today. Looks for an addiction recovery coach, a life coach, or possibly just a psychologist. Give me a call at 844-405-HELP, and I promise you I will help you take your life back. People like Larry Geis from the Geis Academy at 516-458-2741. Larry Geis and I always tell people like you, it doesn't matter where you've been, it doesn't matter where you came from. What matters is that you're here and you're looking for help today. Larry Geis can be found at www.odysseyconsultant.org. That's 516-458-2741. Folks, Larry and I and thousands of other addiction recovery coaches, life coaches are out there. You can work with us to help set up a plan for recovery and sobriety. However, you really need to get in touch with your higher power. You need to give your higher power a shout out, because your higher power is 75% of you and your recovery. We are just the crutch for you to lean on, Larry and I and thousands of other folks. Just get on your knees and say, God, I need help. God, forgive me. God, have mercy on me. God, thank you for another day. God, please guide and direct me. That's all you need to do. And what better way to get on your knees than to do this? At night, we all go to bed. We take our slippers off and we put it by the edge of our bed. Well, tonight, instead of putting them by the edge of your bed, you put them under your bed. And then in the morning, when you go under and you're looking for your slippers, you pull them out. While you're on your knees, you just say that prayer. Doesn't have to be anything fancy. Doesn't have to be anything scripted. What it has to be is from the heart. You have to say, God, please help me. God, I need your help. Have mercy. Bless me. Thank you for another day. Thank you for a roof and a car and a home. God, please guide and direct me. When you're done with that prayer, every morning set the same time, the same place for that prayer when you get those slippers. Put those slippers on and then, folks, walk with God. And if you got to go outside, take those slippers off and put sneakers on, but you could still walk with God. You need to walk with God 24/7. Get in touch with myself at 844-405-HELP or Larry Geis, 516-458-2741. But no matter what, get in touch with God. Get in touch with God, because you're going to need them. 10 tips for a productive life. Here are 10 tips that will help you stay on track. Number 1 is to make a to-do list. I am absolutely lost without a to-do list every day. When I do these shows, I have to have that in order to do these shows. Let me just get this over here a little bit. You want to write out a list every morning just before I begin the day. I've also found that if I'm feeling overly anxious about a big project at work or a looming deadline, I sometimes make my to-do list the night before. This makes me feel that I'm getting a jump start on the day, folks. Number 2, give yourself small rewards for completing big tasks. I don't know about you, but when I'm all about rewards each and every day, it might be something as little as once I finish getting through my emails, I'll go make my afternoon cup of coffee. Little rewards don't have to be about money or things. Get creative and find small ways to motivate yourself to hustle the next time. Number 3, find ways to break up your work day or night if you work at night. I feel like I have a pretty decent attention span, but I am not superhuman or anything. It's good to break up the task at hand and break them up into different shifts. It would be less on your mind, less mentally and physically demanding in any way you look at it. For example, let's say you're a photographer and you have about 5 hours of editing to do. Work 3 hours, then give yourself a snack or paint your nails if you're a female, then finish up the work. Also, if you sit a lot in order to work, make sure that you build up the strength and stretch breaks into your day. You'll feel better. Number 4, avoid addictive time-wasting activities. I recently confessed my love for Googling on the internet to everyone. I'm no stranger to wasting activities. Facebook can be a trap. Smartphones, internet games can also can be super addictive. Avoiding these when you're trying to get something done. Check your Facebook the last 5 minutes of your workday. Maybe as you just about finish up. As a reward, also set limits for many time-wasting sessions. It's also good for a mental break, but don't get sucked into that Facebook, Twitter world. For example, next time you go to check out Instagram while you're supposed to be working, look at the clock, give yourself 2 to 3 minutes, and then stop the feed. Number 5, get as much done as early in the day as you can. It's a ripple effect thing. Personally, I'm sort of a morning person. Each and every day. You know, I have a hard time getting up in the morning, but once I'm up, I like to start daily prayer time. Do you see that behind me? But I've noticed that when I do get up and things are rolling in my head, to-do lists, things to do, my show, my Twitter, my Facebook, my job, I already feel overwhelmed. So what I have to do is to set myself at an even pace. By 9 or 10 in the morning, I feel confident about the rest of the day because I've accomplished a lot already. Start your day with a bang. The momentum will keep you rolling. Then you have the evening hours to relax and unwind. Number 6, tackle the really tough to do things first. I know you don't want to. I don't either. But once it's done, it's done. I find out that I'll often leave a really tough or bummer to do thing until the last thing of the day, and I've learned not to do that because if you get that over with, it makes it so much easier. And it's just looming over me the whole time if I just let it sit. Just do it, get it over with, you'll feel better, and you'll only have the easy stuff left to do at the end of the day. Next one, number 7, showcase your success. This is a motivation fuel for the future. It's okay to be super pumped and proud when you complete a tough goal or finish a super to-do long. Tell your significant other. Instagram that finished a project. Call your mom, pump your fist in the air, celebrate. You've done it, my friend. Number 8, tell someone your goals. Now they are your accountability partners. Boom. I don't know about you, but I am way more likely to finish a goal if I have told someone else about it because they are expecting an answer soon. This can be as public as you like it to be. You can tell your sister of your personal goal. You can start monthly blog series where you share your goals for each and every month. And you can also share your progress. You decide who you want to tell. Just tell someone because it does build up your self-esteem. Number 9, be realistic. We all need breaks. Plan to come back to a difficult, frustrating task later. Sometimes things don't come together like we had hoped for. Don't let it discourage you. Sometimes the task turns out to be more physically demanding than what we thought. Be honest and, just be honest with yourself. Take a break if you need it. Just be sure to make a specific plan to come back to a project. Maybe seek out some help if you need it. Number 10, make a goal setting a habit. Maybe a whole to-do list sounds annoying or cheesy or overwhelming to you. Find what works for you best and don't worry if it feels weird. Even scares you a little at first. It will start to feel like a normal part of your daily life and you'll start to feel weird, off if you kind of miss that to-do list. It'll become a habit like brushing your teeth. It's not overwhelming or annoying to remember to do the simple tasks twice a day. But it wasn't always a habit. Probably your parents had to remind you a lot at first. Let goal setting become a routine and positive part of your life each and every day. I believe in you. Make your life full of successes. And if you have any additional tips or any specific examples of things that helped keep you on track, please share them with me by emailing me at www.ralf@takeyourlifebacktodayShow.com. Actually, just Ralf@takeyourlifebacktodayShow.com. Ralf is spelled differently. I was born in Germany. RALF @takeyourlifebacktodayShow.com. You can also call me 844-405-HELP. Text me 631-599-0218. Folks, this was such a good segment, and I'll tell you why. Because what we did, and I want to go through it real quick one more time. What we did here is we touched base on how to lead a productive life. And the best way to lead a productive life is by these 10 simple things. Make a to-do list is number one. A to-do list helps you throughout the whole day. Number two, give yourself small rewards. There is nothing wrong with rewarding yourself when you have completed your to-do list. Number three is find ways to break up your workday. There has to be ways to break it up. Take a break. If you have an 8-hour shift, take a couple little breaks. Nothing wrong with it. It's good to re-energize. Number four is avoid addictive time-wasting activities like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, smartphone, internet. Work on that on your own time, but to be more productive, you need to stay away from that because they will sidetrack it. They do to me all the time. I know for a fact. Number five, get as much done as early in the day as you can. I'm a morning person. How about you? I hate to prolong my daily schedule. I try to get so many videos done each and every day and scripts going, producing, editing. Number six, tackle that really tough to do thing first. Whatever's the toughest on your list, do that first, because then it's downhill from there. Number seven, showcase your success. Let people know. Tell people what your plans are for the day and let them know when you complete those plans. Tell someone your goals is number eight. What are your goals? My goal for tomorrow is to do 2 more videos. I'm letting you know, so stay tuned at www.takeyourlifebacktodayShow and you'll see those 2 videos. Number 9, be realistic. We all need breaks. Don't try to be a hero. You're not Superman or Superwoman. Be realistic and work on getting things done, but in a responsible way. Number 10, make goal-setting habits. That is an important one. Everything has to be a habit over and over, like brushing your teeth when you were kids and making your bed. Make it a habit. Folks, honestly, we believe in you here at the Take Your Life Back Today show. Make your life full of successes and accomplishments. And if you have any additional tips or specific examples of things that you can that help you stay on track, call me at 844-405-HELP. Text me at 631-599-0218. Or email me at Ralf, R-A-L-F, at TakeYourLifeBackTodayShow.com. Folks, simple prayer here. On your knees tomorrow morning. Get those slippers. Get on your knees and say, Heavenly Father, thank you. I thank you for another beautiful day. I ask you for mercy. I ask you for forgiveness. I ask you for guidance and direction. Heavenly Father, I want to thank you for giving me a job, giving me a roof. I ask you to protect myself and my family. I ask you to bless the world. I ask you to bless my neighbors. In your name, amen. It is that simple. Nothing scripted, no teleprompter, words from your heart. It is your instant message from you to God. Try it out today. May God bless you.
Have you ever prayed but never got an answer and wondered if God was really there? Did you feel all hope was gone, but in His time He came along and answered the prayer you thought was gone? There is no prayer too small, for God hears them all. The answer may not be just what you want, but He always knows what's right, even when we think it's wrong. Just remember, there is no prayer too small. just exactly what we need. There is no prayer too small, for God hears them all. The answer may not be just what you want, but He always knows what's right, even when we think it's wrong. Just remember, there is no prayer too small. No prayer too small. He always knows what's right. God hears them all. There is no prayer too small. My God hears them all. The answer may not be just what you want, but He always knows what's right, even when we think it's wrong. Just remember, there is no prayer too small. No prayer too small. No prayer too small. God hears them all.
Good morning. My name is Ralf Friedrichs. I'm an addiction recovery coach and a host of the Take Your Life Back Today show. As an addiction recovery coach, I want to share something with you, and let me be crystal clear to leave an everlasting impact upon you. Just imagine being buried alive. You're in a coffin, but you know you're not dead. You try to lift the coffin lid, but the enormous weight upon the lid prevents you from opening that coffin. You just think you're going to die. But then you think, maybe if I bang on the lid, I'll unsettle the dirt that's upon the lid, and maybe somebody will start shoveling their way down to help you. This is what it's like to find yourself at the lowest point of alcohol and drug addiction. You know you need help, you don't know where to turn, but you know you also can't do it on your own. In reality, there are people standing by your grave. You just don't know that. You just think you're going to die. Usually, though, people don't think about death when they're great at repressing the fear of death. I often ask you, that's right, you, my audience, did it ever cross your mind that while you were taking those drugs and the alcohol and abusing the alcohol and appropriately using that medicine cabinet as your own drug dealer, taking those prescription pills and just popping them, did it ever cross your mind that maybe you'll take something away that the Lord gave you, and that's called life? You'll take your life not just away from you, but from the people that count on you and love you most. For an example, people like your children, your grandchildren, your mother, your father, your husband, your wife. With this, let me leave one last thought. Don't be the person that I'm reading about on these index cards that went to their grave not seeking help, that waited and waited and waited and was too late then. Instead, be the person that reaches out to people like myself or thousands of other people like me, addiction recovery coaches, life coaches, that reach out and say, listen, I need help. Call me at 844-405-HELP, and I promise you I will help you. You can text me if you don't want to verbally talk to me. If you want to get a feel of who I am, text me at 631-599-0218. But remember, you can reach out to people like me and thousands of other addiction recovery coach and life coaches, but without your higher power, your recovery plan is already doomed. What does that mean? That means you need your higher power to guide and direct you. Carrie Underwood said it best. Jesus takes the wheel. You need somebody to take the wheel of your life. Us addiction recovery coaches are here, us life coaches are here as a crutch to help and guide and direct you through the process of sobriety and recovery. But the Lord Jesus Christ is the person that will guide and direct you throughout life. God will go and plant Himself in your heart so you start living a better life, and you'll see the results. I promise you that. 844-405-HELP is my phone number, and I promise you I'll help you take your life back. Folks, Larry Geis from the Geis Academy does the same thing I do. He has 30 years experience. 516-458-2741, www.odysseyconsultant.org. For whatever I just said about me applies to him. Give him a call, 516-458-2741, www.odysseyconsultant.org. Larry Geis and I always tell people like you, it doesn't matter where you've been, it doesn't matter where you came from. What matters most is that you're here and you're seeking help. But I remind you again, you have Larry Geis and myself, you have you, which is in the middle, and then you have God. All of us need to come together like this to make a whole out of you. So what you want to do, you, is reach to God. Say, God, I need you. And then what you want to do, you, is go and talk to people like Larry and myself, addiction recovery coaches. We will set the path for you for recovering sobriety. God sets the path for you for life. And you just meet us in the middle, and together we become whole. That's all you need to do. The power of prayer is the most powerful thing, more powerful than any nation in the world. 844-405-HELP. Today's Sunday. I believe a day is Sabbath. Growing up in Germany and in Northport, New York, Sunday was a sacred day. It was a family day. It was a day that people would come together to have a good time. It was a day of prayer. It was a day of church. Today, if I fast forward from the 70s to today, it's another day at the mall. It's another day at Home Depot. It's another day doing anything, just about, than originally planned for a Sabbath day. What does it mean practically to keep the Sabbath holy? What does it mean practically to keep it holy? I think it is a matter of personal conscience, although I would almost want you to lean towards what the Bible says. And by and large, it probably should be a matter of personal conscience, like anything else. It doesn't mean that it has no meaning and no biblical guidelines. The big question for a Sabbath is whether or not the New Testament there is a commandment to keep the Sabbath day holy in the same way it was commanded in the Old Testament. It was a capital offense in the Old Testament. You could be killed for carrying sticks on Sabbath day. I'm going to ignore the issue right now of Sunday versus Saturday and just assume that there is no question at all. The Christian Sabbath is Sunday, period. The Lord's Day, the resurrection day of Jesus, and I agree with that 100%. I think those who do the seventh-day things are misunderstanding that the Lord's Day, the day Jesus rose from the dead, is the day that the early church marked the holy day of the week. Now, the question becomes, what is God's will for Resurrection Day, for Sunday, as it is revealed in the New Testament? And Romans 14 is significant for me because it appears in Romans 14 that it was a disagreement in church. One celebrates one day, one counts all days alike. It doesn't say explicitly that what was a Sabbath issue. It could have been some other kind of holiday issue, but it does say one sets aside one day for the Lord, and one considers all days alike. An Old Testament scholar said it doesn't say that one person views all days alike circular, but maybe all days alike holy. And I said, right, I suspect that's what it means. In other words, every day holy to the Lord for some people in Romans 14, and others said, yes, but it is one and special. So it appears that there was a disagreement, and Paul's way of handling the disagreement was not to decide with either one of them. That's what is so significant, that he said, one man keeps it to the Lord, another free to the Lord. Let both honor the Lord. Now that's very significant, because I think people that give no thought to the Lord's Day and do anything to make special are probably not making those decisions to the Lord. By and large, they seem careless, not thoughtful about what they're doing, and they default to professional sports and TV and movies. They totally default to, listen to these words, they default to special events, sports, and TV. And you look at it and say, is it different from any Saturday? Is there anything special about this? And there are a lot of Christians who say, no, there is nothing special about this. Now, I think the principle in the New Testament is that God ordains the one day in 7 to be restful. I think that's a creation ordinance for our good, for our health. And so one of the things we should do, and the things on the Lord's Day that refresh us for His service intellectually, physically, and spiritually. So if you sit at your desk all week, probably you should walk or ride a bike on Sundays. And if you work on the farm, breaking your back all week, which is what they did in the Old Testament, then sit down and take a long nap on Sundays. The rest, peace, I think, is psychological and from a creation order standpoint wise. I use the word wisdom rather than mandating any particular one way of doing it. Just take one day in 7 and set it aside for the day when you are physically recharging. We get a whole weekend off, so we tend to think, how does this relate to Saturday? Whereas the Bible says, 6 days shall you labor and do all your work, and the 7th day is your rest. So the Bible doesn't have a 5-day work week in mind. It has a 6-day work week in mind. I pray at the beginning of the day, Lord, whatever happens today may it be energizing for the next day. May it be energizing for the week that's coming. Give me the strength, give me the energy. Now the holy peace is just that one is being focused on the question. The holy peace, I think, would be worship. Whether it is Saturday night leading in or Sunday morning, set aside a day with significant focus and on corporate worshiping. I think that implicit in the way the New Testament talks about gathering of God's people. So it's holy in the sense that it is set aside for corporate worship. Secondly, I think you want to try to restrain certain secular involvements in such way that you say something special about the day. It's different from any other days because Christ is Lord and risen in the way that I want to speak about a unique way today. But I really don't want to lay down rules for what would be. I could just give you some applications that we developed from our family. We didn't do professional sports on Sunday. None of my family members went to ball games on Sunday. What we all did is we went to church. We spent the day together as a family, maybe playing cards, or maybe even walking in the woods. But it was a family day of rest. There was no stores involved. There were no sports involved. And I didn't draw the line that I couldn't go to somebody's house and watch it on television either. I remember my parents made sure that Sundays were set aside just for the day of Sabbath. People might say, well, that's weird. What kind of crazy line drawing is that? But I'm sure people have their reasons. And I will tell you that the families that have boys that absolutely want to watch sports, they have their reasons too, that maybe they make exceptions on Sundays to allow them. And it is some sort of part of the whole swirl of non-God activity that really has gone astray and had made, whether Saturday or Sunday is your Sabbath day, had made one day set aside totally almost gone. We definitely never went to the movies on Sunday. 99% of the movies are totally godless and circular, even if they're not evil. They just don't have anything to do with God, and that's why we avoided them, especially on Sundays. And I don't think I've ever been to a movie on a Sunday in my life until maybe in the last 15 years. And I don't ever intend to try to go to too many of them down the road because, you know, as I spoke about recently, is that I am a sheep and God is my shepherd. And there are times where I forget, where I stray. And going to a movie on a Sunday is certainly not a sin. Certainly it's against my beliefs, but there are times where I forget, especially if the grandchildren are involved. And you know, we only have so much time with them. So, yeah, I'll go to the movies on a Sunday. It's not something I do often, and it's not something that I plan. It's just part of who I am to be. I was raised that Sundays was a family day, a church day, a prayer day. I wish we'd go back to the 70s and have all stores closed. Now people say, why do we have stores open on a Sunday in the first place? It's all about the money. But people have to understand that money means nothing compared to your happiness and compared to your relationship with God. We just want very much to say that you need to rest. Absolutely rest one day a week. And you need to find a way to say to the Lord, I love you. And I reverence you. And I'll honor you in a special way on that particular day. What day should that be? In the Bible, it does say 6-day work week. It doesn't mention 5-day work week, which most of us have now. So a lot of you folks work on Saturdays, so make it Sunday. Again, being brought up, probably like you, Sunday was that day, the Sabbath day. Now for folks that work on Sunday and are off Saturday, make Saturday your Sabbath day. But take one of the 2 days and commit it to a day of rest. Commit it to honor thy God. The Sabbath day really has gone astray. And we need to keep the Sabbath day to be a holy day. A holy day. Today is Sunday. You'll be seeing this video this afternoon. What are you doing today? Now, if you just turned me on and are watching me, what did you do prior to this video? Did you go shopping? Did you go to the movies? Then my next follow-up question is what did you do yesterday? Now, if you answer both those, that I went shopping, I went to the movies, I went to work, I did all sorts of other stuff, and if you answer for both the days, then where is your Sabbath day? Now, some of you might say, okay, I went to church this morning and I relaxed all day. Well, congratulations, because you are keeping the Sabbath day holy. Set aside one day a week. One day a week, give it to the Lord. And you'll see fruit blossoming from that. I hope to God, no matter where you are, that you all practice the one day a week Sabbath day. And I hope to God, wherever you are, that you all become very knowledgeable on what the Bible really says about the Sabbath day. It is, go right to Romans 14. It explains it. Romans 14 explains it. Folks, today is Sunday. As you can say, it's a little overcast, but it's still a beautiful day. And remember, at night, put your slippers under the bed. That way in the morning, you need to drop to your knees to retrieve them and thank God for another beautiful day. And that doesn't just happen on the Sabbath day. This, my friend, should happen each and every morning. Make the morning your time of personal prayer, your relationship with God. And what best way to remember than by retrieving your slippers that the night before you pushed under your bed. Let it happen, and let it happen today. And I'd like for you to listen to this next segment coming right after I sign off now, and read the words to it about the slippers. And have a great day, and may God bless you.